Hello guys, well I'm back again. I've done a little bit more stitching since you saw me last, and that we did that in the previous episode. I did the what's it called, split stitch all the way around. And what I'm doing here, because in the picture, which is here, it is a lot lighter. So what I've decided, because I did the lightness in here and I finished it up here and made it a little bit lighter, so I'm doing all the light all the way around each of them. I might not do it there, maybe on the tips a little bit. We'll see how we go. So I was thinking I need to put some stuff here, and I'd also like to let you know my plans of what I want to do. So I'll move this up. I've got this doily, and off camera what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the middle, and it sort of just reaches that. So I'm going to have to put this in the middle because all the other bits are going to go around, and I've got also other bits and pieces, but I can show you that in another video. But I will recommend, if you are going to do similar to what I am going to do, I've got this big doily that's going to go in the center of it, and that's where the fox will be on, and then I've got other doilies that I'm putting along there. So I am going to put that down before I stitch this down and before I do the next one, because there's going to be layers going over the top. So, but I will show you, but I'm just sort of give you a bit of a heads up that we're going to be stitching a doily in the middle of it, and that needs to be done sooner rather than later because you will be putting layers over the top. Also, in my collection of bits and pieces, I found this doily which matches this quite well. So I may, cut bits and pieces off and, put that in the as part of the quilt. I might even, just sort of just then, it may go in the middle. So, but yeah, so I'll see how I go. I've got bits and pieces just sitting here off to the side, and just do some sort of arrangement where I lay down like the background, but I might make that a separate video. But at the moment I don't have the space. I've while I'm filming this, I've just moved into my other house, but I'm coming back to the house where the boys are now living, and the studio is, this is where I'm filming because I've got the setup here, and I've set it up where you've got a shelf and then I've got bits and pieces, so I'm going to have to find a new setup in the new house, and also there's a lot of stuff to move over, so I'm really glad I didn't have to do it all in one go. Yeah, and I was able to move slowly because moving the craft room is quite a fair bit of work. Now these are the bits and pieces, so I'm just gonna, where's that fabric? Oh, there you go. This is what I was going to do. I was going to do some stitching on here, but I might do that the following week because that's probably the last bit of stitching. I was thinking I might do a little bit of, decorating. So I've got, this is the piece that you get in your kit, and I was thinking, so I've just got a circle. So if you want to use what I found, move the little one, a coaster is actually a good size. So it's if you use a coaster, but I've got these and I use the biggest one. So it's just Kazar Craft, and I use them to make my yo-yos. Okay, just put that in. So I might cut this. Okay, that way I know what I've got left of the fabric. So it's been, I'm filming this on the Monday that you received part 2. So I thought I'd come here and do part 3. It's unusual because I'm, you know, like heading here to go to work, which is good. So I've got to, you know, get dressed and not be slack and film in my jammies. So it feels more like a bit of a job, which is good. Now, so I might even do a couple of videos today. I've still got to, I have been working on my Roxy's Journal Stitchery in the background. The prompts are coming thick and fast, and, you know, I've sort of been catching up, but I need to write them down, I think. Just get rid of that. Okay, so we've got this bit of fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a yo-yo and probably put that there. I've got this fabric as well. Here's my bits and pieces. So here's that tiny little piece. You've got a bigger one. I'm just going to trim the edges. Unlike most other time I do slow stitching, I'm gonna have to, you know, if I've got to stitch this down, I really do need to stitch like either a blanket stitch or something that's going to hold it, because this will get washed because it's going to be a doona cover. Now there's this little piece, and I kind of like that it's got a tear, but I'll have a look. Yeah, it's unusual that I've got to make sure that, you know, things don't ever tear or they're not going to fray. Normally I love that. So don't mind that. I think that might be okay. Put that there, and I'll have a look where you are in camera, because I did move it. Oh yeah, you're in a pretty good spot. I've also got these guys, which I want to use as well. So maybe we can just start by doing the yo-yo. Bit of in slow motion at the moment because shifting's hard. I'm exhausted. Okay, so that might be enough. We'll see. Whenever I do a yo-yo, I usually like to do the fold over edge of doing a yo-yo. So and then just a running stitch, and I'll just fold as I go. So how are we all going? I'm looking forward to getting my new house studio set up, which will be overtime. I'll probably still be coming here to film, as I've just probably said just a few minutes ago. Got this fabric too. This fabric here was from when I did the calendar kit, I think, and it might have been the apples or something. So yeah, I've got a few more people joining in doing this, which is nice. Welcome aboard. It's still early days. It's never too late to, you know, grab yourself the 3 months. I mean, even if you get the whole lot at the end, it's all pre-recorded, so and it'll be on Stitching with Suze. That's the playlist. That's where this will be on. So if you need to do any catching up, that's where you go on the playlist, and they'll be in the consecutive order, you know, part 1, 2, 3, and all. Yeah, Geranium. So I'll just label them whichever, you know, piece that we're working on, and may just do part 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the next one, which is, you know, the snail and mushrooms, I'll probably do, you know, snail and mushrooms 1, 2, 3, 4, rather than continuing 5, 6, 7, because you get a bit lost because they're their own individual lot of, you know, tutorials and videos. Okay. Yep. Feels like I haven't filmed in a long time. I feel a bit, you know, what do I say? Okay. Can't go past a good old yo-yo. Oh. Not long into it and I'm already pricking myself. It's a sharp needle. I was just watching Corinne's video this morning on her working on her doll's house. So I'm still, excuse me, just blowing my nose, working on mine in the background. My little one, and then this really big one that Brad got from work. It's huge. I'll have to do a video to show you. It's looking, you know, worse for wear, and I'd say it's something, it looks like one that you know, someone's made, a loving father or mother has made for their kids. It's got, you know, wallpaper and everything already on there, but you know, it's been a bit worse for wear. Like, it looks like it might have been sitting in the shed for a while. So it's going to be having a renovation, and it's got a little bit more room, and it's more the 1 to 12 doll's house size, whereas my other little one is very tiny, and yeah, so I'm going to have to, you know, make and think outside the box, literally, and make stuff up to scale of, you know, that tiny little house. And it is cute. Like, I love what I've done with it so far, the wallpaper and all that. Okay, pull it in. The only thing with this size, the gap in the middle is quite big. Okay, try and pull it without snapping this. Okay, so what I usually do is I'll go down through the back. When I get it to the width, I think I'm going to have a button or something in there, and just do a couple of stitches. And then leave that. Okay, give it a bit of a eye and it might flatten out a bit, but there you go. There's the colours that go beautifully with the colours that you're using. Even got a little bit of purple in there, but I wanted to get mainly the pink and the green. So we'll fold that and ruffle that up, May even give that an iron. Okay. I do like how it turned out. So I think that may go there. We'll pin that. But I want to put some of this sort of stuff. Like I've got these, which I think may work really nicely. I may just, you know, just stitch some down coming out like that, and then having that in there. I think it needs a little bit of something here. Well, see, that looks all right like that there, because it brings out that purple. There we go. So maybe I might stick that there, and then I'm going to have some of that thread coming out. But what I need to do is work on that, the background, and you'll see why before I actually stitch anything down. I can probably, you know, start stitching some of this, or at least putting into place. I did take a photo of some of what I wanted. I do like, this is another piece of fabric which I thought would be really quite pretty to put in. Okay, have that. If I do this, at least it's not rough edges, and I can stitch that down. That should be okay. And I don't even mind it's on a bit of a lean. You really don't need a great deal of fabrics. Now if I have that over that, wondering if I fold this over. Okay, bit slow today. I sort of feel like a bit of a sloth, as in the, you know, how I am working, as in my pace. Okay, so might, we've got buttons too. I'm gonna do that, and then where's this? I'm going to have to fold this over. When you're doing yours, you don't need to do this part. I just need to do it for mine, which is a little on the annoying side, but you know, that's how it goes. I'll do the same for that. That's where this little guy comes in handy, because this stuff is really fray. Okay, that should be okay for there. And I could probably even do a what are they called? Blanket stitch or something that's going to hold that down. Okay, move these bits and pieces. That one's okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's quite fray, this fabric. Maybe I'll cut that. I'm just going to put it over the bin. I'm still here on the bottom and top. There we go. And place that there, coming out there like that. Maybe I can do the same for this edge. There we go. And yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. I thought the reason why I'm going right over with this is because I want to cover the edge. There we go. That way or that way? I think that way is probably better. Now, I do think it looks better like that. Yeah, it needs this little dangly bit there. Okay, so that's what I'm doing for that. So I'll proceed to pin that and this. And get out my threads, and I'm actually thinking I really like this. Whether I have that one or do I have this light one? Whether I'm going to cut some of that in half. Okay, this is a bit thinner. And maybe just having a little thing like that, just sort of joining it. Almost looks like a flower, doesn't it? Then, and do I cut it in half? Which I think might not be a bad idea. It makes it a little bit thinner and a bit easier to stitch. And then I've got two bits. There we go. So, and I've got this too. I kind of like it, so I might just intertwine that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you know, like some wool or something along the lines of that, and just pin it. And somehow work it in. I'm going to pin it, but I want it to look a little bit more organic. Better put the lid on this baby. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Fold it over like that. And we'll probably go down. And I won't, I'll just stitch it onto that because we're going to leave that. And I got this, which I think is rather sweet, which I might you know, it needs a little something going across. I like that. And then I'm going to put another, or do we do it here? That kind of looks cute too. Really like this dotty sari silk. Okay. I don't know. Looks a bit too formal. Okay, having that go in there, and then I'm probably going to have another bit of something, the fabric probably, which is this. Well, we've got some of that, but I think just that piece is enough for me. So we'll pin these together. Oh, I remember now. We've got these, and we've got that other piece too, that little diamante shape one. See, things have moved around in my shift, so I thought all the stuff was in that lot that I had, but maybe they haven't, or they could be in my bag. Just a look. Sorry. Just a look. It's around here somewhere. Yeah, I thought it might have been in with that lot, but I don't think so. But whether that goes there, or that might go there, or even with this, it's around here somewhere. Oh, I really don't like it when you can't find stuff. Hang 10. I have got stuff in my bag over here, and I reckon we might find one in there. Sorry, got all bits of lace and stuff. Might have to pause it, and I'll come back. I am back again. Okay, we found it. And that was going to be something that I was going to put in here. So maybe we move this up to sort of go down a little bit more. And we want to utilise see if something like that, it's covering that, which I don't really want to do, but it sort of sits in there nicely. And then okay, there we go. Is that too much? Maybe we put that there. You can have that there. I don't know. I've got these. Just because these just seem awfully blocky. I do definitely want those. And, you know, yeah, I think just leave it. Leave well enough alone. Leave that. I've got these which I've picked out, and I've got, you know, a whole heap of these little ready-made hexagons, which I, you know, found in a piece, and they work really well. I'm going to keep these aside, but I'm going to put down that lace. I need to put down that lace part down here before I can go any further, because it's going to go on top of it. And I was thinking, I wonder if that could even go underneath, or, you know, over this way underneath it. There's another piece going off to the side, then having that there. Where's my little guy? I kind of like him. He just reminds me of another geranium. And then I have this, wherever that went. Coming out here, maybe, with a little piece of this. Do we get that? This part, I kind of like that. The colours. Okay. And we can do just, you know, a small rectangle shape or whatever we want to do. Underneath that, you know, just fold it over. A bit like how Sherry Iris does her thing. Coming out. Okay. Yeah. There we go. And just slip stitch that on. Bit long. It's okay. We'll make it a bit shorter. And then we'll have it coming out like that. There we go. Something like that. This bit here is really not complying. It's not wanting to go down, and I haven't got my ironing board set up properly. There we go. It needs to go underneath. I'll have a look. Stand up and have a sticky. Through moving and even before moving, I don't know what I've done, but I've got a really sore knee, and at the moment it is twinging. Ooh. So sometime this week I'm going to get an x-ray to see if they can do anything about it. Oh, I just feel so old. It's terrible. Okay. Do that. I'll pin that down. Not sure about that. Have this pinned, and then maybe have this in here, either underneath or on top. We'll see how we go. Maybe on top, and I'll put a little button or a you know, French knot or something in it. Okay, so all we've done today is placement, no stitching apart from this, this I'm going to put aside and maybe come back in with, you know, 1, 2, 3, something like that, which will flow it down into there. I kind of like that one too, but I'm going to do behind the scenes stitching with these, or that, oh my goodness, my word's terrible. Okay, now we got our threads, and I've also got extra threads. Be nice to start stitching this down. How's the placement? How does it look from your end? That's not too bad. That's quite nice. Just wondering if this is maybe a little close. I think that's okay. And then that'll be loosely done on that, so it sort of sits like that, and then I'll stitch that down at a later stage. There we go. I quite like how that's working. So my homework is to stitch this down. So I've got, these are the 2 skeins that we have gotten. So I could probably use some of this to stitch down. That should be all right, and won't stitch here. It's the trouble. I've got to leave things a little bit open until I know where they're going. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I do like this. This is going to be, the colours are quite nice, you know. Yeah, but this is something that I'll do down the track, I think. What can we do? Do we keep it in similar colour, or do we go an opposite colour? Where are we? This is nice. That might work. So just get out your complementary DMC things leading to this. So there we go. I might even do a little bit of stitching with you. I've got a few minutes. Okay. So a bit of a layout. Okay, and this is, you know, it doesn't really matter if this frays too much, so I'm happy if it, you know, like it's sari silk, so it's okay. And I'm not going to, what's the name? What kind of stitch? I'm not going to do couching. I'm just going to do this little stitch where you grab it and do, you know, tiny little seed stitches. I have to maybe do it this way, so it's being pinned down, so it's not so bad. I really like this simple technique where you just have a couple of little stitches. Holding it down in and around. It's nice and simple, yet it holds it down and leaves it a little bit organic, which in this piece is a little bit hard because I haven't got a great deal of place there. I can leave something a bit more organic. This frays on the edge it's not so bad because that's sari silk, and that's what sari silk does. So we're just having tiny little pieces where we're grabbing it. I want to keep the pin in there because it's keeping it in place at this point. Oop. And it's managed to knot. Okay. Oop. Love the colours in these, very pretty. So what I'll do is we'll take that pin out, but I'm going to hold that corner. See, it's doing that fraying thing. Okay. And catching on everything. Okay, just go around, grabbing it with little stitches. I'll pull off that. There you go, because I've caught that piece now. And there we go. Got to be so careful. I don't want to stitch, you know, the extra piece of the tablecloth. Okay. I'll basically stitch it down, and then I may come back and do a few more stitches here and there if I haven't done enough. Okay. This is the type of stitches and stuff we're doing with, I'm going to come back here, in my Christmas workshop. I've got sari silk, and that's the technique I've got to holding it down. I really like it. It's really nice texture. Got the pin in and the way again. Just put that out of the way. Okay. So tiny little stab stitches. That's why I wanted to have it, you know, in a matching colour, so it's got a little bit of highlight so you can see the stitching. But you know, there we go. Cute. Okay. Now, do we want it to open a bit more, or be careful not to be too close to the word geranium? Just speaking to myself here. Okay. Going to be such a gorgeous piece when it's done. I've really looked forward to getting this done. Oh, I've also sent off to the printers the next lot. Yeah, so I'll probably get that in a couple of weeks, which is really good, and it's all 6 of them, which, you know, I don't have to be waiting, so I can have them, you know, all packed in their little potential pieces and ready to go, and you will get them on time so that you can start your lot in is it November? So it's September, October, November. So you'll need, the next one will be December. So I'll be posting them off. I'll be putting it out in November, and like at the beginning of November for the December, January, February ones, so that you can get them in time to start stitching in December. Okay. Okie dokie. Well, let's see how we go with all of this. Hopefully you can see it. I definitely am going to have to come back. So I might stop it here and leave that, go underneath, and then get my piece. Where are we? My linen. Put that underneath. There we go. Cute. Like a little. So I might get my other piece and have that coming in, because I can stitch this down then, and that'd be good. Kind of like how that's going, because I think it'd be easier to stitch it through all of it, if you know what I mean. And then that's going to go there, and that'll go, if it go like that, yeah, that'll work, because that's fraying, so you get to see a little bit more of the lace. There we go. Okay, I think where are we? The pins here. I might just put in a little pin in here just to hold that down, and take a picture so that you can see in the thumbnail what we're doing. And in the next part, I may do an extra part in between. I will probably film putting down this bit and have that in between. Yeah, I think so, because we need to come back and do that. I've looked at here and I'm like, oh, it looks like it's, you know, I think it might be this fabric. This is quite thick fabric, and looks like it's smudged a little bit in there with the brown. So I know when I used the printer that I'm using now for the part 4 to 9. So all the next 6 ones are with the printer that I used for my houses and for the Nature's Treasures. So I'm going back to them. Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, because it's never done that. It's a bit smudgy, and I think because I've overworked it. Lucky it's within the flower, and it'll be sewn over. So okay, well, I will I'll turn it off now and do some, like, you know, stitching it down and, you know, getting bits and pieces. So this video is probably very disjointed. I'm just still very tired. It takes moving is the pits. It takes a lot out of you. Okay, and so I might have been a little bit more quiet. So the ones that have trouble hearing, you might just have to listen in your earphones or whatever, or turn it up a little bit. So okay, guys, well, thank you for watching, and I will catch you for this in the next part. So it'll definitely be coming out on next Monday, but you might get another one in between as well. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.